going live. So if they want to join us, it is possible. I just checked the link so that we can publish it on YouTube. If you don't talk, can you switch off your microphone, because otherwise it gives you a horrible noise. Ian, switch off your microphone when you don't talk, because it starts creating this horrible noise, which is... Fine, I'm here. So can we start with the social media? I sent an email in the meantime to the people in order to follow us on the YouTube channel, because we are full house. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back now. Social media, point number 1. Facebook, point A. Christina had some proposal from our last meeting, so maybe I can give the floor to Christina to actually explain what you meant by changing our working style on Facebook.
Should I speak now? Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So basically,
Christina, you muted yourself again.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize that. Thanks, Laszlo. So I was saying, in the last meeting, we were a bit wondering how to structure better the work in relation to social media, as we're going to have less action days. Then a few other activists might have like a bigger role taking over the content production for Facebook or Twitter or other social media. Thanks, Neely, for muting my microphone. So besides that, we were a bit wondering how to structure this. Shall we have like groups working on these with a coordinator, or shall we divide through some kind of like platform the tasks? So that was a bit the question that we had in the previous meeting, but since we were discussing also all of the other things, we postponed this for this meeting.
Thank you, Christina, for summarizing. Anybody else would like to express an opinion or a point here? or a concrete idea?
Hello, I was just wondering maybe how we can activate the other no hate speech pages. For example, if the official no hate speech movement page posts something, all the other no hate speech, Romania, Belgium, and France, and so on, to share the same thing the same day. That would be ideally. I'm not sure if those pages were created under some project that is now finished and there's nobody behind those pages, or what's the procedure for that?
It's up to each individual NCC about how all those pages were managed, so that would be easy enough to do, to get some national pages to share the content, but other NCCs might be more difficult.
In this case, we really need like really strong communication and coordination between NVSD and NCC representatives if we want to connect this. So in this case, maybe it's also good to have some people who are doing this stuff constantly, maybe. I don't know. Because I mean, changing also people in this role will not also make sense, because I mean, contacting in 1 month one person, 2 NCCs, and then another, it also makes things complicated, I think.
Yes, in fact, the national Facebook pages, if they exist, because I'm not sure if it exists in every country where there is a campaign, it belongs to the national campaign committee or coordinator, or to a person nominated to handle that. In some cases, we don't even know who this person is at the moment. So I think here we need a lot of coordination. And I took a note of this idea because, Irina, the point is very important and good. And tomorrow I discuss it with Menno, if the European campaign manager can foster further coordination on this aspect. There will be a European meeting of all the national coordinators. I think it will be in Tirana, in Albania. I'm not sure. That was the plan. In April. So maybe this is something that can also be discussed further with those people who are actually working with the. We don't have the power to actually push it, if I want to use this word. But the point is very obvious. Okay. Any other comments or points in this regard? We are still on Facebook.
I think it's also very important to provide the informational exchange the other way, not only from the main page, the national committees, but also when something is happening in one of the countries of the campaign. So it will be also posted on the big European campaign Facebook page, just to show that the campaign is alive and it has many things happening. Because sometimes it happens. I understand it's also the issue of communication with people who are responsible for the national campaigns. But I think it will be good for the campaign to show that we're still alive and there are many countries joining, and it's very diverse.
And this is something.
Sorry.
This is something that is already happening on Twitter. So on Twitter, we keep retweeting something that's happening on or everything that is happening on the hashtag. So we could do the same for Facebook, to post again what was posted on the national page of No Hate Speech.
It depends, because I think the question is, do you want the European page to be just English, or do you want to repeat content from national campaign committees that is in other languages? So I think that depends.
I think it depends on. Yeah, it's either translation or depends on the content, I think, because some content would be relevant on. Some national campaign coordinators are reposting content of the European page after translating it into. I know that, for example, the Hungarian coordinators, they do that sometimes if they find the content from European level relevant to the Hungarian context. And I think it may happen also in other cases as well. Okay. Anyway, what is important here is that we take note of this. Without the national coordinators, we cannot change this procedure now, because this is a bilateral cooperation with those people. So I think we can take note of it. What we can further discuss is what is in our own power. And what is in our own power is to actually steer the Facebook page and the open group. So coming back to Christina's idea, I don't know if it makes sense to try to set up, I don't know, every month team of volunteers to take care of content issues, or not.
Can I ask a question? I thought that Christina was speaking. Sorry, I thought that Christina was saying a social media group to include Twitter, or are we just talking about Facebook?
I would suggest that we consider both as social media, then separately.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, both. I think that first and foremost, we should target like Facebook and Twitter, in which the movement is more active. And maybe, I don't know, like even more than like a month, because I don't know, I'm seeing that 1 month, a really short span of time. It could be also like, I don't know, like 2-3 months, and like one person can, I don't know, like coordinate more the things. So there is a bit of easier transition from, you know, one team to the other ones, or I don't know, it was just like to throw some idea in order to, you know, like foster other ideas, or maybe someone knows a platform in which we can coordinate, I don't know, like besides Google Docs. I was just wondering.
Laszlo, I think I have one idea. I remember that there is, like, in Tbilisi City Hall, they have this kind of, I don't know, offer from Facebook, that they are also monitoring all the pages that they are having in the link of their like departments and small organizations. And as I know, there is one program where you can put all the links of the Facebook pages, and then you can like make some kind of structure between different posts. So maybe we also ask and check with the Facebook if it is possible to have such kind of program, and then it would be quite easy to communicate with the to coordinate with the posts and communicate with the people who are dealing with the Facebook pages.
So it's a kind of service of Facebook to handle multiple pages or something like that.
Yeah, it is like that, and even as I know, they have some kind of like possibilities to delete some stuff and stuff like that. But I mean, we don't need this kind of roles and abilities. We just need to coordinate some stuff. So maybe it's possible to have some kind of support from Facebook as well, because I'm sure that they have this kind of program, and I'm sure that it exists. So maybe it will make easier our work with the different pages.
Can you put the link so we can check it? Because I don't know this.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that it's not like available for all the people, because as I know, they have some kind of cooperation with the Facebook, and Facebook offers this thing to them.
Okay, in order to be specific enough, can you Gubas check it further what it exactly is, and if we know what it is, then I can ask Gabriela Che if we can also get this.
Okay, tomorrow I'll check it.
But we need a more specific, I don't know, a description of this service so that I can refer to it. I cannot ask it like this.
Oh yeah, of course. I check it tomorrow.
Okay, so Christina had a proposal that a team could work not for 1 month, but maybe for 2. So probably we could have a test, if I could propose that, to have a testing for the first 2 months, January and February, to see how it could work. So because of course to talk about it is one thing and to do it is another thing. So maybe let me check if there are few people here among us who would be interested in testing such a thing in January, February.
I can personally.
I would like to join too.
Jana, Buzz?
I'd like to be involved as well.
Ian. Okay, can we start with three names? Because if I mean we can also grow it bigger. I don't think it's a very risky issue. But if it's too many, then it can be also counterproductive. I have Elian also. Okay, so Jana, Gubaz, Ian, Elian, 4 people. I think we should live with it now. So we would try to find out what is the best way of dealing with this. There is one important issue on Facebook is the posting. I think if everybody has rights to post and everybody is cross-posting all kinds of things, then it may become a little bit chaotic. So the only maybe decision we should take that one of the 4 people should have a kind of leading role in or more responsibility regarding actually what is posted and what is not posted and in what order it is posted. So some kind of manager or coordinator of the team would be very relevant. Maybe what I would ask is to discuss it among you, the 4 of you, and decide which one of you would be ready to take this challenge. I assume that it entails a little bit more involvement than just being a member, but of course it's a testing phase, so we will see how it goes, and then we will also teach the next team what to do and what not to do.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, so instead of now having a volunteer or me appointing one of you, maybe the best thing is that by the end of the week, the 4 of you tell us a name that who will be like the focus point of the team, and also the person who has a bit more responsibility than the others for keeping the focus, for keeping the flow, and also for making sure that the Facebook posts and the Twitters are not in a chaotic manner. Magnifico.
Okay.
Is it agreed? Christina, do you see it the way you have visioned?
Well, vision it's a big word, but I think it's a good setting. I was just a bit wondering if it would be the best, like, to within the team to divide more people who are taking a bit the lead more on Facebook rather than on Twitter. But also I think that this setting, it can be good in the sense that then, you know, we are sure that the same content is shared both on Twitter and Facebook, because sometimes they are not really consistent in terms of which content is being shared where. So I think that is a good thing.
Okay, so one of the outcomes of this meeting is that we are going to have a first test phase of a social media team with Jana, Gubaz, Ian, and Elian, and we will know by the end of the week who is the coordinator of this team, and we will reflect on what has been done at the end of February to see how to improve this methodology, and then give over to a next team for March and April, or we will see whether a longer period is needed or a shorter period is needed. Is it okay like this?
Yep.
Totally.
So, and until end of February, and coordinator will be nominated or elected, let's say. Great. Okay, so this team is taking care of both the no hate speech hashtag, the no hate Twitter profile, as well as the Facebook page and the combating hate speech I obviously remain at the disposal of this team. So if you need anything or I am supposed to do anything, you just instruct me and I do accordingly. Good. Any other points concerning social media? If not, then thank you very much. The next point could be the hate speech watch, which is the tip of our heart, which is something that we are not so proud of, but we have it, and it has a huge potential still. Many of us are concerned, and also I think colleagues in the Council of Europe, also on the political level, they expect that the hate speech watch is something that is more used, something that has more outcomes, etc., etc. So we also have some kind of expectations from out there. We also know its challenges and its drawbacks, and I would now open the debate of how you see we could make better use of this tool called Hate Speech Watch.
I'm interested if we take on board the Latte Creatives proposals for the making like hate speech watch easier, and then we can speak more about how we can deal with this. Because if you have like exact ideas how we make it easier to collect reports, then we can speak about the structure also.
But okay, I have one suggestion. Like, we can make it easy. We can make it more available for people, like promoting more on social media the hate speech watch. But at the end, we don't have reports, neither from the activists. We are like 5 people reporting. That's it. So, yeah, I think we have to raise awareness about how important is that we map hate speech to show, I don't know, politicians or people that really exist. And I think we have to work further on the actions after the reporting the hate speech. Yeah, I don't know, because maybe at the end on the in my opinion, like on the action days, we work on social media, on the content, we manage like pictures and the most important things that are the actions offline too. But at the end, the hate speech watch is like, we have it, but we don't use it. So, yeah, I remember in one of the meetings we spoke about to have some kind of agreement or direct contact with organizations like INAC and others that they really work on hate speech and they can take actions. I don't know in which point we are on it, if we work on that or we just proposed it and we didn't do anything. So I don't know. I'm able to work on the hate speech watch because I really believe on it, and I have 1,000 of examples in my computer, but what I cannot do is to be one of the unique persons who report. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Can I speak?
Yes, please, Nelly.
I totally agree with Sarah. Yes, as we know, Hate Speech Watch is one of the those most important tools of the campaign that can make it very much visible. Also, it can be one of those powerful things that can really make some changes in social networks. In other cases, what I always felt about this, that we have very less institutional support. As you said, Laszlo, yes, there are lots of pluses that we can gain, but meantime there are backwards, and some things should be, even if politically correct, so we need to take care of about those kind of things. But meantime, I think more offline actions should follow after about these kind of things.
Yes,
Online,
I agree.
online things also. Of course, that's why every time I feel that we are very less people. What Sarah says, I totally agree, because last time, as you know, it was me, Sarah, and Janochkina working over this, and sometimes we had to, one of us was posting, another one was validating, because nobody else were involved. So it was kind of, we need to do something, you know, just to move on. But I think that here we also need certain group that works over promoting of a certain period of those, how to say, these vivid examples that should be there. Also promoting online actions offline. It should be also one of the most important tools that I think at least 5 or 6 people should be every time involved with having their own roles on this.
And one thing, I agree totally with you, Nelly. One thing else that I forgot is about the hate speech watch page that you report, but on the focus reports, you just see the one that was made, the first one. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like the new reports at the end of the list. So this is also, you are going to check a report maybe about the refugee crisis now, and you have to look for it.
So
Doing it on the public webpage or where?
you mean the reports that are connected to Focus?
Yes.
The order of the reports connected to Focus?
Yes, yes.
Is the other way around, actually.
Yeah.
That it should be. I think this I can also tell tomorrow to change it through the Latte Creative. You know that Latte Creative is working on some changes on the page. I think by the end of hopefully by the end of January things will be done. There are many things which are also improved on Hate Speech Watch. So the point made by Gubas at the beginning is very relevant, that we should revisit this topic when we already see what is changed and what is not. But in the meantime, what could be a relevant thing to do is maybe follow the same pattern as we do with social media, is to set up some kind of team that we used to have, but we don't call it validators because it's not only validation, but to take care of Hate Speech Watch, not only to report and validate, but also to think about how to motivate people to report, how to engage maybe national campaign activists to reach out, so that also national campaigns are using it, because language may not be an issue, and the point is not that the activists are doing something with the reports. I think what we learned in the last 2 years is that we cannot expect that the volunteers, the activists, the online activists are taking care of the reports of the Hate Speech Watch in the sense of doing something with them as an institutional procedure. Because you are volunteers, you are not, I mean, we cannot make this institutional system made by voluntary contributors. So what is possible to be done is maybe the validation and the promotion of the Hate Speech Watch. But I don't think it works to actually take care of each and every report itself, because that's a hell lot of work. Even if there are not so many reports, it is a lot of work to be done to bring it to a legal procedure, or to send it to INAC, or send it to a national institution for further, or start reporting it on Facebook. I think this is something that is not, that should be more an institutional task of the Council of Europe to do something with it. So coming back, what do you think about setting up still a team? Come out in Budapest. Sure, new good ideas will come out in Budapest meeting. Which Budapest meeting? So shall we set up a team for January, February for the Hate Speech Watch? who are also following up what is happening, what is coming out from Latte Creative?
Yeah, I'm able.
Yes, Sarah. That makes sense. Anybody else? Nelly? And maybe one more person.
You can count on me as well. I will in the chat. And I also have like a few points in this regard. I was just wondering because before we were mentioning like Facebook and Twitter, before I know that Adriana used to be like the contact person with Facebook, and I think this is quite relevant for Twitter as well in relation to the hate speech watch. Because I think it would be nice if like this team, when we can discuss this further, but it would be nice if this team also can have like the constant that with the social media. So for example, for example, there is a really bad feed or a really bad Facebook page, and we report it directly to Facebook, and it gets like you can censor. It could be like one entry in the social media.
There's a lot of
I can
disturbance on your
hear.
microphone. I can't hear you.
Some horrible voices are coming, yeah.
Is my horrible voice on now better?
Now it's better.
That's
Yes.
much better.
So yeah, was this point related to Facebook and Twitter? Also because I believe maybe we also, I don't know what is going to be the outcome of this content narrative experts, but I have the feeling that this is very connected to to the hate speech watch, and also for me it also is an issue of like related to security. For example, thinking about Jana's episode, like think about it, and maybe I don't know, I was more thinking that it would be nice for the team, I don't know, have like one or two brainstorms on one of the hate speech presented as a report, and then like have a huge brainstorm with the activists in order to like work on one. But I don't know, we can discuss this further.
So we have Sarah, Nelly, Christina on this list. Is there anybody else who would be interested? If no, then maybe it is also possible that this team is coming up with certain points. We can also have a separate meeting, or the three of you can also have a separate meeting without you. It depends as you wish, in order to put down the most important points. I took note of the Facebook contact and Twitter. There is this, Twitter has this, and YouTube has this trusted flagger program, and Facebook gave us this secret email address where we can write directly to the content unit. So I think this can be easily managed. I have all these things.
But in this case, we need all the involvement of those people who are these trusted flaggers and also contact person for Facebook, just to be sure that all of them are involved in these teamworks. There are like for a couple of months for each. We need coordination for this also.
Okay. We have to look back what happened with in the direction with Twitter and YouTube in the times of Bridget. I think tomorrow with Menno I will also try to push this into the right direction. Okay. Fine. If there is no other point regarding the hate speech watch, then we can go to our last point, which is the European Action Days. We have some good practice and we have some bad practices. We learned quite a lot in the last 2 years. We have basically a chance to change as we wish, to change methodology or to do things differently. This is a new year, but we are already under pressure because the next European Action Day is on the 8th of March which is still not yet officially decided by the follow-up group, because the follow-up group, the new follow-up group, has not yet convened. So there was no meeting yet which would have decided it officially. But from colleagues in the Council of Europe, I know that 8th of March is a very, very important institutional date. And sexist hate speech is an issue where they really want to do something, because in the last 2 years nothing was done, at least within the context of the movement. And there will be a seminar in February on the 16th, 18th in Strasbourg, which will be also an important meeting regarding the preparation of the Action Day itself. Menno will be there, I will be there, and I think some of you will be there because you already applied. So, but I think the question here is more like a general approach to European Action Days. Lessons learned, things to change, things to propose, because some things are not in our hands, so we can only propose. The floor is yours.
Laszlo, just one question. Maybe it wasn't that clear to me. So we should discuss about how we want to organize ourselves for the next European Action Day, right?
Yes, it's about our practice, our work, our cooperation in regarding the European Action Days.
Firstly, do we agree that the structure, how we are working, was good enough? Because personally, I think that, I mean, the ways that we were using before, it was quite nice, but still I think that we had kind of problem with the coordination with other activities and NCCs. So maybe we also think about this, because I mean, personally for me, it was quite nice to work like that. Because having really big team for each action day, it will also not make any sense for me. So, I mean, for me the most important is this kind of coordination with other activities and also NCCs, just to be sure that all of the actors are involved in the process.
Yes, that is an issue. I think that is a very strong issue. Whether we should involve the national coordinators, and if so, how and who will involve them, because so far it didn't work. I think maybe also we have to ask the question whether it is important to involve the national coordinators or not, because yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure. I don't know now. I'm personally looking back to these 2 years. I don't know if it is how you say, it is realistic to think that we can involve national coordinators in the European Action Days. I don't know.
I think from the experience, it's very difficult to involve national coordinators in the process. But I remember we were using the structure to invite some of the members of the NCCs. So it's still nice, I think. But now also good thing is that we also have some people in the follow-up group from the NCCs, Lila and Nelly. So maybe also they will support Menno to motivate the NCCs and the coordinators. Maybe it will also help somehow.
Potentially what I see a possible solution to this is to involve national activists into the European Action Day rather than national coordinators, because that would be probably easier. people who are working with the national campaign coordinators rather than themselves. Because they are
Yeah, that
most
was
of the
my
time
point as well. Yeah.
that is usually they are very busy people. They have different roles in the government or in an NGO. So for them, doing the coordination is an extra task or a task which is partly in their portfolio. So I'm reluctant to believe or to make ourselves believe that it is possible to involve ideally some of the national coordinators or national teams. What would be easier is to recruit new activists to the European community through the national campaign coordinators, which means that those people are also in a more embedded in the national context, in the work of the national campaign. That is probably an easier way or an easier objective to reach than try to push these poor people into the preparation of European Action Days.
Can I say something?
Yeah, bitte.
Okay, thank you very much. I agree with both of you, but on the other hand, I need to say that I would not like to tolerate it that much, Laszlo, sorry, because according to what we had in the last Action Day, as a closing one for the last year, we discussed, of course, about this. Probably I would be repeated, but me personally, for example, I would like to see everybody involved into the process, because when we are active within these European Action Days, but if people are here on voluntary basis, it was their choice. Being an activist or European campaign coordinator, nobody pushed them, because there were so many changes that people were changed within this process. But if they are there, you know, we still talk about this, but many of them didn't do any single sharing or posting something on their Facebook profile, which was very small something. But if you are in campaign, you should be there, at least via these small things. This passivity to say that, okay, they are very much busy. Of course, I understand, I see that. But meantime, there are so many people that would like to be involved and be active. It means that some people, not everybody, of course, all of us, we are busy in many times, but looking through the process, we see that these people, some people, which are good friends, still, it's not about this. It's just the process that we see, and the meantime, we realize that people were not active for a long time. Being campaign coordinators or just being involved into the campaign. So it means that maybe there should be some changes. It's not self-goal to be here. It's just to be here to do something. And small changes, when we collect them, at the end of the day, we have something that has a value. I don't know. I think like this, that all of us should be somehow here.
Yeah, in principle, I totally agree. The question is, who is putting the pressure on them, or how they see their role in the European Action Days in a way that they actually start doing something. So I think it is partly this discussion should take place in the follow-up group. This discussion should take place in the European campaign manager's head, and this discussion should take place in the meeting of national campaign coordinators in Tirana. I think first of all.
Can I say something again? Sorry.
Yeah.
What I would suggest, it could be something simple, but this is also one of our experience that we had previously. If you remember, you were sending this schedule, like when we or national campaign committees can be involved in this European Action Day. So they indicate when exactly they can be involved. It is something like you asking them quite beforehand, let's say so. So it is not that in 1 month people have already things arranged. You give them information already 1 year ahead, and they can manage it somehow to see about their business period. If not, they can suggest other people, because national campaign is not only coordinated, but there are also people involved in this campaign, in this body. Yeah, it's not one person. There is a group of people that if one is not active, others can be in a charge to do something, just to be there. That was my point. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think this is from our point of view. I think this can happen again. We can do that, and we can also provide all the information that we have as soon as we have them. Unfortunately, at this moment, we don't know yet exactly when and which European Action Days will happen. So, in principle, it is a very good idea. In practice, we cannot yet do so. But I totally agree, Nelly.
But I think here the main point is what we mentioned also before, the fact that we invite the national coordinator to have volunteers joining the action. So it's not themselves or like the partner organization, for example, which were not that much involved in the organizing the European Action Days. Not, the main representative has to join, but we can ask directly in the email that they can join the first, let's say, brainstorm on the European Action Day. And they can invite people to bring on their ideas and what they would like to do for the next European Action Days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Following up on that, I think it's actually very important to state in the letter from the Council of Europe that national campaign coordinators are actually obliged basically to share the information with local activists about something ongoing, because at least from my experience, there were cases when not every activist would probably go to the Facebook page. Some of them, they even didn't know that updates are posted there. But at the same time, information about the upcoming European Action Days was never shared. And so it led to lack of activities. It's one of the primary responsibilities of the national campaign coordinators, and I think it should be identified again, because it depends on case to case.
Yes, thank you. I think regarding the cooperation, we could also take a look at the partners. I think we are a little bit better off with cooperating with partner organizations, especially last year. We started to walk on our own road, so we were not waiting for the institution behind us to actually involve European NGOs, but we did it ourselves. We started sending them letters, and those who were interested, they joined our preparatory teams. I think this apparently seems a shorter and easier way to work with partners. And if we can propose, then I would say to Menno and we to go on this direction, so that we just directly contact them.
Can I say something? Unless
Yes.
I remember. Sorry, it came to my mind. It's not masterpiece, of course, just a new idea, something simple, but still maybe we can ask all national campaign coordinators, as they are working under the youth, let's say, ministries or something that is in charge for youth, in youth sector within their countries. Maybe we can just ask as a must to have information about upcoming European Action Day in their websites or whatever they have, to spread the information and involve young people. If they are busy, okay, let's say, at least people can be aware that this kind of thing is happening. So just to provide visibility and also information to provide to those people, to those stakeholders that can be interested in participation. Something like this. At least spread the information. Give opportunity to the others.
Yeah, I see also a big potential in working better and cooperating better with the so-called statutory bodies of the Council of Europe, such as the Advisory Council and the CDJ members. I think also with the starting of a real European campaign manager, Menno, it would be in place to actually foster this cooperation better, because there are 30 European youth organizations in the Advisory Council representing a lot of youth networks, as well as all the ministries of the member states of the Council of Europe are seated in the CDJ. So both directions, I think we could be much better than before, I think. So the idea that you just explained should go actually into the direction of discussing with the ministerial representatives of the member states in the CDJ. Yeah. And last point regarding the European Action Days would be the content production. I think we were also very critical at moments about ourselves. In the reports, we were sometimes happy with what we did in terms of the quality of content. Sometimes we were not so happy. Sometimes we received contributions from outside. Sometimes we did not. There are many ways of producing content. How do you see this? What shall we change in it? What do we ask from the Council of Europe to change or to do? The floor is yours.
Can I ask something? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I was wondering if, like, let's say, use the word newcomers, even if I don't like the word, the people who were a bit less involved in the European Action Days compared to other activists who, like, I don't know if they're having some idea of something that, you know, they have seen in this meeting and they were missing, I don't know, some more brainstorm or something that they would like to see more. I was just wondering if it was something on this regard.
Well, I think I could say something. If you, yeah, I am maybe one of the newcomers. I was involved in the last European Action Day in December, and I took part in 6 meetings, I think. And I told then to Laszlo and those who attended the Hangout meetings, we had some problems with receiving blog posts. That was one of the content on the agenda for the last European Action Day. And if we have the same problem again, given that we are, I don't remember how many people you said that we are here as activists, we could write ourselves. We could take it as a challenge that we ourselves have to write this. So, for example, I write about the situation in Romania regarding the next European Action Day in March, and from whatever other countries you are, and you can write something about that. What happens in your country related to that European Action Day? If we see that we don't have enough content that was specifically for a blog post, it depends, I guess, on exactly what we have prepared for the next European Action Day. But for blog posts, that could be one idea.
Yeah, thanks, Irina, for the input. I was, can you hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, I was a bit wondering, like, because sometimes we we were complaining to the fact that we had too much materials going on because we had too many European Action Days. So maybe this time is going to be a little bit easier. I don't know if it was, I don't know, maybe worthwhile to have like a first brainstorm on, the European Action Day itself, and because I don't know like how this is going to work, with the new teams. I don't know, is it going to be the team of social media and the hate speech were now, gonna take a lead on the content production, or we're gonna organize it in a different way? Maybe something else that is missing from what we did so far. I don't know, the memes or other things. For example, there was like I think that was today. I don't remember in which Facebook group, but Ron mentioned a very good thing about like production of a meme. I don't know if you know this. Like it's going on the social media. This like Bob meme of like Bob is like he's a cool guy. He doesn't post and doesn't share it and so on. And for example, this could be something that we can pick up. And I was wondering, like, would be the social media team working on this, or maybe we can like include these in the European Action Day, because for example, this is a cool idea and it could work quite well.
Okay, I hear two things within the lines. One of them is that we still consider that activists are good resources of content for Action Days, which is an important point to make. And the second, what I hear is maybe we could also work with a little bit more responsibility of activists regarding the Action Days, if I hear well. Like Bill. Be like Bill. Yes, that's a funny flow of memes. So the first one we don't have to discuss, because apparently there is an agreement that the activists are good resources for producing content, regardless whether it is writing blog posts, making images, or even producing videos. I think what we have to do with the new activists is to see the competencies, because I think we need a lot of different online competencies for the online community. So also when selecting new people, involving new people into our community, we should make sure that we have people who are able to do this and that. So not only are we competent in understanding what hate speech is, but also competent in producing content in different ways. Of course, some of us are more into writing. Some of the activists are more into selecting hate speech and reporting it on the Hate Speech Watch. Some of them are able to make videos or produce memes or create online quiz or writing guidelines, etc., etc. So I think this is a very important aspect, which is also a question in the new online form of expressing interest. So those of you who filled this form, it is also there, so that it has a reason. And the second question, which Christina, you raised, the possibility is there. I mean, I could also see that there, if for each Action Day, there is somebody or some activists nominated or volunteering as coordinators or support persons, or people who are more into the development process than before. Okay. No more comments regarding this. Christina, you wrote here a question. I think it is a good idea. I don't know what the others think.
But in relation to the European Action Day, you mean?
No,
Or...
you wrote here this post to ask the people who are originally making these memes.
Yeah, this is what I was mentioning before. So Ron wrote this on the Facebook group. So I was wondering in this regard, who, of the activists should take, because it's a nice idea, and I think it would be worthwhile to work on this. But who, should we take this into account when we're discussing about the European Action Day, or other teams should work on this? I don't know.
I like the idea of actually contacting them and asking for some dedicated means, as Ron did.
Yeah, it's running all around these memes. Okay, is there somebody interested to look into the details of this issue? Maybe the social media team? Yeah, okay. It's the social media team.
Okay.
It looks obvious. For the, what is it called? Bill? What is it called? Be like Bill.
Be like Bill.
Be like Bill. Alrighty. Okay, in the meantime, I had a little think over these teams. We have the social media team and the hate speech watch team. So maybe ideally these teams should work until the end of the next European Action Day, because that would be a kind of point of evaluation anyway, and a point of reflection anyway in the middle of March. So we can say this is the middle of January, and it is a 2-month period for the first set of these two teams, which would also mean that these two teams are also in relation to the European Action. They have a specific role, because they will be in charge of the social media and in charge of the hate speech watch. So maybe with this deeper ownership, the quality of our work will also improve. I would love to jump in with it. I can check for Bill creators. Okay. Spasiba. Okay. I think time has passed. It's more than 1 hour since we are together. In fact, it's 1.5 hours. I think you all have to go, and we all have to go. So maybe we could close the discussion here. It doesn't mean that this discussion is finished. I think we have tackled a lot of things regarding the ways of working. I think we need some more information regarding the new hate speech watch, which we'll have to follow, how the Latte Creative is working, and we will have to know more about the action days from the follow-up group or from colleagues in the Council of Europe. I am going tomorrow to meet Menno. I hope I will have some more information, or at least information that when we will get the more information. So maybe we can have a next meeting next week in order to start working on the action day. I think it's high time. Ideally, we started 2 months before the action days, which is still not a lot of time. So we are beyond that expectation already. So I think tomorrow, when I discuss with Menno, I will send an email in the evening to all of you and see how we can best start working, trying to involve NCCs, trying to involve partners, and involve the new members of the online community. Allora, thank you very much, spasiba. Mulțumesc. Grazie mille. Thank you. And I don't know the Georgian Albanian. And I knew the Albanian one, but I don't know. And the Turkish, I know. Teşekkür ederim. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Ready to take feedback? Köszönöm.
Listen, I'm sending you a reminder email of our conclusions today. I have 3 pages here.
Nice.
Bye.
Bye, people. Have a nice evening and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Great to see you
Bye-bye.
again. Bye.